Welcome to E-commerce with Coffee, a podcast powered by Amber Engine, where we share e-com secrets for brands over your favorite brew. We start with the caffeine and then leap enthusiastically into behind-the-scenes e-com insights that led to the success of our guests. I'm Nate Svoboda, and I'm about to serve you up the best. Let's get started. Welcome to this episode of E-commerce with Coffee. Now, if you haven't already, we'd really love if you could go to wherever you're listening to this podcast, give us a like, subscribe, comment, really looking for ways that we can improve the show. But today I'm speaking with Hannah Giro. She's the founder of PR Brand Marketing, which is a firm that helps Amazon sellers to optimize their product listings, their marketing strategy, really looking just to increase their organic traffic. Now, today we're going to be focusing on how to stand out as a brand on Amazon. So Hannah's going to share some of the tips and tricks that she shares with her clients. So welcome to the show, Hannah.
Thanks for having me on, Nate. Appreciate being here, and it's a great opportunity.
No, absolutely. Really looking forward to the conversation today. Now, before we get started, I know that it's a little bit later in the day, so you may not be drinking a coffee, but you're a busy person. I imagine, does caffeine play any kind of role in your life?
Well, yeah, starting your day is definitely good to have some sort of caffeine, at least like one energy boost. But when you're a business owner, all of a sudden you're like thinking about a million different things, and you're like, wait, where am I getting my energy from? But you're just running on that.
Nope. Hey, absolutely. I wish that I was able to do that, but usually I need something to kickstart my morning. So really kind of just diving into it, Hannah, you work specifically with Amazon sellers, right? And you've been doing this for about 4.5, 5 years now or so with PR brand marketing.
Yeah, we specifically work with private label sellers, so brands that have companies that have their own brands. That would be our target market. That's the people that we help.
So I guess, what is your favorite part about working with Amazon sellers? What brought you, to work with this group?
Okay, good question. So let's go back a couple of years ago. I've worked with several Amazon sellers, and I saw all did not have their marketing straight as far as like their content, their graphics. Amazon's not like was back in the day. Like back in the day, you could just take a picture of your iPhone and then just shoot it, upload it, and that's it. But as 2021, like if your listing is not optimized, if you don't have like the correct images or graphics, it's really hard to stand out. So seeing that need, that's what brought me to create the company, and yeah, that's what we help.
So I know you offer a lot of services, or your team offers lots of services. What's your favorite part about interacting with these sellers and helping them out on Amazon?
So it's really about seeing how a product that did not exist. I love working with clients that did not even have their brand name, like did not even just had an idea. All of a sudden we came up with their brand name, their logo, packaging, and then afterwards, all of a sudden seeing like the sample from the manufacturers, like, wow, we did this. This is like, this is just like a thought out process. And then all of a sudden, like to see in actuality, that's like my favorite versus, yeah.
And so are you familiar with, and I don't know if this is like an official term, I've read it a few different places. Are you familiar with the Amazon halo effect?
Yeah. So briefly, like I've said, like people are saying that what people are doing one thing and then afterwards it affects others, other things. Is that what you think? Yeah.
Yeah, just the idea that a dollar spent on Amazon helps with your other channels, and vice versa, obviously. So a lot of businesses think, I don't necessarily want to engage with Amazon. I don't know if it's right for us to. The fact of the matter is, maybe you have a different stat, but 66% of consumer searches are starting on the Amazon search bar, right? So I think it's especially important for brands, even if they're not going to focus exclusively on Amazon, to at least make sure they're considering it in their overall channel strategy, right?
Exactly. Just have like some sort of brand presence. It's really important, because
Yeah.
this is like all you have to do is send the products into FBA and then go from there and start selling.
Yep. Well, so really excited to talk about some of the specific steps, right? And so when you're taking on a new brand, or you begin working with them, what are some of the first things that you're working with them on when you're trying to help them optimize their listing performance?
So right away, we have a discovery call. On our discovery call, I look out for different issues with their listings. For instance, is the listing optimized? Is it missing some search terms, keywords? Like what 80% of what you put out there on your listing is what shows Amazon A9 algorithm. Okay, this is what I want to be ranked for. So it's really important to have the right keywords, search terms. So I make sure to have that if they have that. If not, then we would create the content. Really big is to have infographics, lifestyle images. It's really important to show exactly what the product is. Remember, this is all online. It's based on what you're putting out there, that's what makes the product make it or break it.
And so I guess of everything you just talked about, right? So obviously the images have to be in a certain order, or at least there's a recommended way to list your different images. What of all of the components of a product listing do you think are the most important or most crucial to focus on?
So really important to have a good hero image, the main image. That's what uh, ultimately that's what gets the clicks. Have the right search words, keywords. Really important to have the main keyword within the first 72 characters in the title. So whatever you put on Amazon, the first keyword, so right away, that's what pushes people to click onto your listing. Once they actually click on the listing, that's what like tends makes them to shop and actually, look into your listing. But if you don't first get the first click, you're never going to get the sale.
No, absolutely. Now, so it's really important for these brands to develop a really strong image for themselves, right? But I guess a lot of people are starting to talk about these Amazon storefronts as a good way for brands to be able to tell their story and really communicate their value prop more specifically. I guess, can you talk a little bit about how outside of the product listing can a brand, show off their stuff on Amazon?
Right. Good question. So when it comes to a storefront, really important it's like almost like having a personal website. And nowadays with Amazon storefronts, there's a lot of new features such as Amazon posts, which is great free traffic on Amazon. There's also, you could create ads. You can actually see how many people are clicking onto your product, your storefront. What's the conversion like? There is also email marketing, which is coming up, still in beta, I know that, but like it's going to be coming up soon. And especially if you're going to promote it like through social media and influencers, it's really important to have a good professional storefront. And people are not really honing into that yet. Like people are thinking like, oh, EDC is like what's going to convert the traffic. Don't get me wrong, it does. But storefront, there's a lot of potential and people are not really grasping the full potential yet.
So, I guess maybe you can speak to this. I'm not 100% sure, but so what are some of the ways that in which, standing out as a brand on Amazon is, or any e-commerce setting for that matter, is different than, businesses had to do traditionally before this rise in digital commerce?
So you're saying what would like how does
So in terms of like the way that you show off your product or you show off your brand on Amazon, how is that different from, oh yeah, that's fine. How is that different from ways that businesses have had to do it on other channels traditionally?
right? So before it was just like let's say a list. No other website other than Amazon has like EDC. No other website other than Amazon has like specific bullet points. So it's real. So there is things that are only used specifically at Amazon, and then traditionally when you have like a store like a website, it's just posting one picture and then a little bit of content, and then like, developing it further and getting the sale from there. So Amazon has a lot of great tools to help brands differentiate themselves on Amazon, and that other sites such as Walmart or Target, all those sites don't have right now.
And so, I mean, obviously we've talked about storefronts and we talked about APC a little bit. What are some of those other tools that you really like to use or recommend that your clients look at?
So like as far as tools off Amazon, there's Helium 10, which you can see like, for example, search volumes. You want to obviously check your competitors, making sure that you have the right category, making sure that you actually spend PPC on your competitors' listings, because once they're searching on theirs right away, you can go in on, they'll get to yours. I do like also on the A plus pages to have cross selling. It's like that module on the bottom. So this way, if you're selling other products, if you're selling one product and people are not liking the slides or the color and it's not a variation, it automatically takes them to another page. And that's another great way to cross sell your products.
So, a lot of people are talking about A plus content. And I think that, most people think that it's expensive to produce. I mean, it's, obviously you want to probably work with somebody who knows what they're doing when you're creating it. So would you say is A plus content critical for anyone selling on Amazon, or are there people that should versus, maybe should not be engaging with A plus content?
So Nate, let me just share with you something a client shared with me this morning. Like, I was like, okay, wow, this is really shows that the power of A plus.
Yeah.
I know let me just grab it here. So this client just sent me this, and he said that he was able to double his sales. He worked on his A plus content like 6 weeks ago, and said this rate used to be between 12,000 to 13,000. After we added the new A plus content, it went down to 7,900. So it really shows the power of A plus content, and like it's just a great way to differentiate yourself. And also, I always say, with like from what I've seen, it really increases your sales traffic between 5 to 7%.
Well, I'd imagine the longer that someone stays on the page, the likelier they are to add it to their cart, right?
You got it. Yeah, exactly. So
So I imagine that, you want to make sure the images and the things you're conveying in the A plus content is, maybe not different, but unique, right? You're not just copy pasting from the bullets that are at the top of the description. So, I guess, how does one go about thinking about, what they're going to put in their A plus content? I imagine it varies a lot brand to brand, but, maybe if there's an example of a time that you've done this.
yeah, sure. So when we do an A plus content, first things first is to have a logo. Now the logo is going to be on top right away. People know exactly your brand. Then in between the logo, we like to have like some sort of content. Tell the potential customer a little about your brand, what makes you unique, differentiates yourself. You can put like a little about when year you started. Then there's we like to add like a large header, which shows the product very clearly. Some icons. Remember, people are not reading stuff, so icons is a great way just for them to skim through it. And then we put some 3 features. Those features really show the product usage, zoomed in features. So this is people get a full grasp of the product. And then finally, we like to add some sort of lifestyle in the bottom, and then some other content. This way, it makes it relatable. It looks like, this is something that I would like to use.
So I imagine that, you may be under some NDAs, or, maybe you don't want to speak too specifically about some of your clients, but, are there any examples that you can readily recall of, really interesting ways either a client of yours or any organization stood out on their Amazon product page?
Sure.
Maybe how they did so?
Yeah. So there's a brand called Core that we did. They sold light bulbs, and they're like, Hannah, remember, it's light bulbs. There's nothing special about it. I'm like, okay. So as a marketing company, you want to take this product and just like say, hey, let's see where we can, let's do something unique. So we did like a nice modern kitchen. We showed the difference between the different colors of a light bulb. We showed how easy it is to change a light bulb. Like these little small things really, all of a sudden the client's like, wow, I never knew how many cool features was my light bulb. He's like, I thought it was like just like any of the others in the market. So
No, absolutely. Well, and even just a product like a light bulb, right? A lot of the businesses, and I imagine it's probably the same for you, that we speak to about product information management, they think that, maybe their product is so vanilla, I guess, just to say it. They don't need to be going back and updating the information, making it so that they change their SEO terms and constantly change what's being put in front of their prospects. So I think that's a really good example of, even a product like a light bulb, right? It's really important to stand out and differentiate yourself from all the noise on especially a platform like Amazon, right?
Especially for competitors, for sure. You want to stand out as much as possible.
So, kind of backtracking a little bit, when we were talking about the product title, the images, what do you recommend in terms of like an order for the images for the products, right? I mean, normally a Hero images is there's no brand logo on it. It's a white background. I guess, can you talk through some of those visual trends that you generally recommend?
Sure. So the first image would be on a white background, like you said. So proper shadowing, making sure it's clear. If it's a bottle, you want to make sure it's overlaid with the label so it's really crisp and doesn't have any flashback. That would be the image number 1. Image number 2, product dimensions. Really important. This is a great way to avoid returns. What size is the product? How does it look? So you've got a visual concept. Image number 3, infographics. Different call outs, just the different ideas, product features. Image number 4, we like to do 4 and 5 is more like a lifestyle image. This way you can show like different demographics using it, making it more relatable. Another image we would use is like on the 5th image is sometimes also to add some like call outs that we need like a more individual attention. Sorry. We would have that there. So pretty much that's our scope of how we create our images.
Nope. And that makes total sense. So then if we think about like the product title, right, a lot of times it's becoming more and more common for brands to include like descriptive words in the product title, like the color or how many, come in a pack, so to speak. How do you look at, a client's product titles and help them, either stand out better in the results page, or I guess, how do you go about thinking about it?
All right, good question. So let's say in top, you want to make sure right away, if it's a light bulb, you want to write like bright light bulb, like you can put the colors. Um, no one knows your brand name. So like if you're not like a brand like Coca-Cola, don't waste the 70 characters, which people are searching on Amazon.
I think isn't the stat like 80% of searches are unbranded on Amazon, and then it's pretty similar on even Google.
Exactly. So like people think like, oh, what is my brand name in the beginning? I'm like, no one knows who it is. It's not a search term. You could put it in the end, no problem. But wasting that extra real estate space on putting your brand name in the beginning is like a no-go. You also want to make sure that you have good content, search terms, putting like the words beautiful, very, great. That's just like extra words that are taking up space. So you want to make sure that you have a great like all the search terms that's needed. And there's different tools that actually get you these keywords that you could generate.
And that's my next question for you. So I know we talked about some tools a little bit earlier, but so when we're thinking about, how to decide what words are trending or what's most likely to return the best results, because obviously you don't just want to focus on the highest volume search terms. You want to focus on, what actually is relevant to your offering to have the best margin, right? So what are some of those tools you use to find or to determine which words are the best to use in a certain product listing?
Sure. So we have our writer look at different softwares or programs such as Helium 10, keywordtools.io, merchant words, and that like Google also gives you really a bunch of different keywords that people are not really using. And this way you can see what's the monthly volume, and you can add that to the keywords. And it's also important, and I've seen a lot of people adding their competitors or in their backend keywords. So that's also, you get to show up here as well.
Okay. So now, different people feel differently about it, but I think a lot of people have thought of Amazon as maybe not necessarily always being the best partner, so to speak. I don't know what your particular thoughts are, but what are some things to look out for when you're working with Amazon, or to maybe be mindful of?
Yeah. So another service we offer, not one of my, like, I love offering the service, but we do it all the time, is POAs. So we're familiar with what people are messing up at. And from what I've seen, people are not putting themselves in the right categories. They're listing variations. Like variations should only be size and color, and they're putting different variations inside. What's the other defective? Like to make sure that you're selling it. If the product is new, you put it as new. If the product is sold as used, put it as that. Like just being mindful of that, because Amazon is super strict when it comes to their guidelines and their TOS.
And I feel like this is probably everybody, who sells on Amazon knows this, but just in case for our listeners, POA stands for
Plan of action.
Got it. Okay. No, that makes total sense. So, I really appreciate everything that you've shared with me today. Now, I guess if we're take the whole conversation we've had, what are some of the main recommendations that you would make for somebody who's, just beginning to work with Amazon and they're developing their first product listings or trying to build their brand there?
So right away, when you have a product listing, you want to make sure that it's profitable, making sure that it's a good product. And then really important to have the right content and bullets and product description there, as well as good pictures. Whatever you invest in your listing, that's what comes out. So, like you go cheap, you're going to expect, it's going to be a really long journey to get to where you want to be. And it's really important to really utilize the tools that Amazon provides. And then if, let's say, for example, you want to invest a little bit more, you can do the A+ page, a little more, you'll do storefront, a little more, you do beautiful packaging. So, but the core would be the listing as well as the main images.
Now, I know there's probably not an easy answer to this, but when we talk about, the storefronts, the A+ content, are there different levels at which an organization reaches where they should begin thinking about an Amazon storefront? Like once they reach, this revenue band, they should start thinking about it, or, is that not really the right mindset for that?
So it's based on the category. So let's say, for example, you could start off with just the landing page, just basic if you have a few products. But if you have a bunch of different categories, and so you want to segment it accordingly, just putting it different brands and tabs. So, like you could, like, let's say for during Q4, you can create, let's say, products that are related to Christmas products. You can do ads towards that tab. So I would say if you have like at least 5 products, definitely think about creating a storefront.
Okay. No, absolutely. And good to think about it more in terms of number of products you offer versus, where you're at sales wise. So again, I really, really appreciate this. Now, where can our listeners, get in touch with you if they have any questions or any further questions about you and the services you offer?
Sure. So yeah, you can always check us out on our website, which is prbrandmarketing.com, and or they can email me, it's info@prbrandmarketing.com. My name is Hannah, and I'll be happy to take a look at their listings and provide some feedback.
Awesome. Thanks, Hannah. Well, really appreciate the conversation today, and hopefully we'll have you on for future ones.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me here.
That's it for this episode of E-commerce with Coffee, powered by Amber Engine. If you haven't gotten your fix yet, be sure to get more e-commerce brand secrets on our website at amberengine.com. And don't forget to subscribe for more episodes.